Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show topics. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Valencia. We have a very special show today. We kicked the men off of here just for tonight for you. We have a beautiful talent woman here with us today. First, we have Miss Tammy, who's joining us. Welcome. And then we have Miss Sophia, very special guest here. And you know my co-host, Miss Megan, who actually is doing a reboot of the show, the play. And tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, the show, the play, and Keisha's Life Part 2 is coming to the Arena Playhouse here in Baltimore, Maryland on October 19th and 20th. I'm the writer, director, and star of it. So, I'd like you guys to come check it out.
That's right. Everybody check that out. We will be giving you some more information about that. So let's get into today's topic. I'm so excited because we get to talk about the men. It's always a good thing to talk about men. That's what we like to do. So, but today's show is specifically addressing men with no to low income and how do we women who are financially stable date them.
We don't date them.
I knew she was going to say that.
You need to be dating yourself if you don't have income. You don't have time to date. You can't afford to date. Dating requires money. You have no money. So you need to be focusing on yourself.
In the show. She has spoken. And that is real. In the perfect world, we want to say that we don't date them, but we do get a little involved. I know I dipped my foot into the penniless bank a few times.
Yeah, I think that the interesting part about like dating a man that doesn't have money is that sometimes they do other things that men with money don't do. A guy that I dated, he was the only guy who would like run my bath water and like really like massage
They
me
get creative,
down.
don't they?
Yeah, they come up with other ways. I mean, the sex was awesome probably because he wasn't stressed out with work.
I got the high on you with that one. Sorry, Mom. But yeah, I can feel you with that. Yeah. I don't know if it's because of lack of stress or, I don't know. Or if they're just trying to overcompensate because they know they can't provide for you. Also, I think the creative part, the point that you made, they do get creative. Like when you have money, you can actually go out there and buy that piece of jewelry. When you don't, it's like, I don't want to lose this chick, So what do I do? So the little things, especially I think we pay attention to it when they do the little things like, here, I bought you a pack of Skittles.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's
Your
like,
favorite
he don't have no money and he bought me
His last dollar on his
You feel me though? You feel me? You do. I think we pay attention because we know they're broke.
Yeah, I've had where they had a little money, but it was their money. My money was our money.
Yes, I've had that too.
I've had where they split my money out of my pocket. Like back in my day. Back in my day, my smart days, I've had where I've taken full-blown care of someone, and back in my smart days,
She said smart days.
Yeah, very smart days. Very smart days. He broke me and he blessed for he did not do none of the extra stuff. I did all the extra stuff. And at the same time, I stayed because I was trying to change him. And, I've had where I've made more money and then eventually, man, surpassed me also. So.
But did you stay because you were trying to change him, or was there something else you were looking at that you liked?
If I look back on it now, it was nothing about that person I liked that I could find attractive now. Then, but yeah, no, it was nothing. It was like a very smart days. I'm gonna just say very smart days. I was trying to find the God and the good and nothing.
It was
nothing.
Dating potential.
But
What would you see? You think
don't
it's
we do that
potential?
with the rich?
Yeah. But I think it's
but
more
they're
than
healthy. But I just think we're missing one part here. like everyone has a love language. So I have this conversation with my girlfriends often about like guys who have money and guys who don't have. Like me personally, I can't do it because of the lifestyle that I already live, and I am a single parent. Therefore, I'm not taking care of another individual. I just can't. I just don't ever see me doing that. Now, I will take care of my children, but not another grown. Because if I have to get up every day and hustle and get things going, I feel like you need to be getting up every day, hustling and making something happen. And it doesn't have to necessarily like be someone that's super rich. You know what I mean? Because like you may not meet someone that is super rich, but you and I think this is something that is not brought up. It is abusive for a man to live in your home, a grown man staying in your environment, using up your resources, and then you call that a relationship. A lot of women are in situations where people are homeless, and because the man is homeless, he's pretending to have a relationship with you because he needs a place to stay.
Right.
It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. His needs are unmet. He cannot eat. He cannot survive. He does not want to live on the streets. So he is living in your home, drawing that bath water on a water bill that you're paying. And that's not romantic to me.
Right.
You running my water.
I think in retrospect, I definitely can look back in retrospect and feel differently about the person. I think it being a little bit younger, sometimes you get caught up in the hype of, our black men need our sisters to uplift us, and you know what I mean? And it's like we want to be uplifting. We do want to be that rock for our men. You know what I mean? We do want to be supportive, and you see a man who his presenting character is one that you think is going to be able to make it through. And then that's another thing. Sometimes you don't realize how fucked up of a situation this perfect person is in until 3-4 months down the line.
Exactly. That's it.
You know what I mean? Like,
but they're manipulating.
They manipulating,
and they will play that black man role on you, like, oh, you don't support the black man, da da da. No, I don't support someone trying to, in the lack of a better word, finesse me.
Finesse. That's
You're trying to finesse a home, finesse an idea that something that is not.
Right.
And that's not a relationship. And I think a lot of women, they don't want to admit it. They're just, they know this brother is nothing. They're just lonely and want somebody to hold them at night. And, it's not about the money for them because it's just more about the company.
So is someone who's financial status, does it reflect their character? That's the question.
I think it may not necessarily reflect every aspect of their character, but I think it does say something, because when I've had the benefit of working with the Hispanic population, and I saw a lot of different ways to, being able to navigate in a world where you don't speak a language, you don't have any documentation. And when I can see, a Hispanic person waiting outside on Broadway for a truck to jump in to go do whatever work every day, getting up early, trying to be the first person to make that truck, then I look at some of our men, and it's kind of like, you won't even go push a lawnmower. You know what I mean? So it's more so that, to me, the character then is, you're not assertive, you're not aggressive, you're not motivated. You know what I mean? No vision. And for me, that's
says a man without a vision.
And that's a turnoff because, in the beginning you can talk about your vision, but after you talk and I haven't seen you do anything, then it's kind of like, what? You know what I mean?
But that's what we're getting to. Do you entertain it? Like, of course, Miss Megan definitely was like, no, I'm not entertaining it. Not at all. But like you said, you don't really know about someone's financial or personal life until you actually get to
Well,
them.
what I say is this: if a guy tells me, so I know my financial position, and I'm a homeowner, and I'm a single, single parent to some degree, well, co-parent, and I still have a lot of finances that are on my own. And so if I were a man, if I were in a man's role, if I were, I guess, a dom and I was playing a male's role, I wouldn't even be trying to go holler at any girl right now because whatever little coins I spend, I mean, I may take one person out maybe a week, maybe, you know what I mean? But I wouldn't be trying to entertain a woman in my financial position right now. I may be a little bit more understanding of the man who is, I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm struggling trying to get a business started. I can respect a man in my position. He owns a home, which means that he has assets. You know what I mean? And he's as far as I know, is not in foreclosure or anything else going on. That means he takes care of responsibility. If he says to me, I have bills, I can't go out all this time, to me that's a little bit more attractive than a man who will eventually have credit card debt because he was so busy trying to wine and dine. So it's a longer conversation than just
we've already talked about the man with no income, and so we all agree it's not cool.
But she brings up a good point, and I don't want it to lose that point. Is she's talking work ethic versus character.
Exactly.
Because just because someone's finances are, low right now, because we all go have ebbs and flows, So if someone's is low right now, doesn't mean that they don't have good morals or character. But a work ethic is important, because if I know that I'm with a man, and even though he may not be a wealthy man, but he's going to do whatever he has to do to make sure that I and our children or our family is good, then I respect that, because that's character. Versus it's not necessarily about money, it's your character with the money and your work ethic.
Exactly. Because you could be living off of a trust fund, you know what I mean? And that doesn't, and be frivolous. For me, I'm cheap. I will say it, I'm a cheap person. I like to hold on to my money. I've been blessed that, I've been able to maintain however I've been able to maintain. I couldn't even tell you what I've been doing, but I maintain. And to me, it's about making smart decisions financially. I like a person that makes fiscally sound decisions. You know what I mean? And so I want to have a little bit more discussion with the person. He may not be on my financial level, but when he's talking to me about where he wants to be in the next few years, if things sound like they make sense and they look like they make sense, and that's a different conversation than say a guy I met this guy he said, he's making about $50,000 a year. He's content. He's happy with his life. Well, I want to surpass that. I want to have a certain amount of money saved in a certain time. So if you want to lay around on Wednesday when I want to go see about clients, then we're not going to work, because, your financial position to me is not the same as mine. And you want to,
I have to bring this out because this is for our male viewers who are listening to us. We do sort of have that, I don't know, that since I'm getting back into dating, I've heard quite a few times men say that, it's work. Dating is work. It's taking a lot of money out of it. All y'all women want is a meal. Y'all want to be taken out. You want to be, throw money at you for this. We're entertaining you, and it's all coming out of our pockets. Are we saying that to them? And are we saying, like, if you don't have no money, don't come at me? Is that the message we're putting?
I think the message is that if you can't, Maslow, we're talking about basic needs, food, clothing, shelter. You cannot expect to have a woman that you eventually, I guess it depends on your purpose for dating. If you're dating because you're just trying to get smashed, then that's one thing. But if you're dating to find a wife, then the basic needs are food, clothing, and shelter, and your job is to protect and provide. And so if you can't bring those things into the play, then, and I'm not saying I need you to go buy my clothes necessarily, but if you can't show that you can provide for me, you know what I mean? Because as a woman, if my man, because men will wear holy underwear, they will wear underwear until the band no longer keeps it up. And we will see that, and we will see a need, and we will go and say, let me go get him some new clothes. So that's a need being filled. So I need to know that you can provide for my basic needs also. And so I'm looking at how you treat yourself, and it may not be spending that much on a date, but you need to get creative if you don't have the money and you want to be able to spend time with me. Because I don't want to sit and just stare at you.
So we're like talking and we're moving up. We move from the man that has no income to the man that's probably struggling to live. And we're moving up to the man that probably has money, but is not good with it. Just not good with it.
Can't get with him.
That can be reversed. You can help somebody with their finances. You can, if you're good with money, you can show somebody, at least teach them. But if they're continuously blowing it and blowing it and blowing it, it's like, that's a major turn off. When you're trying to establish a foundation and you have somebody that's like, they're living for today and you're planning for tomorrow, you want to go on trips, you want to do all of these things. It's not to say everything costs a lot, but their living for today could mess everything up.
Wow.
You know, because they could blow or make a mistake.
That's everyone.
It'll affect like
So
a
how
domino
important
effect.
is money in a relationship?
Well, finances are the number one reason for divorce, so it must be real important.
That's true.
It's
I think with women in dating, you have to. I want to go back to what she said about courting with a purpose. Because if it really isn't like to get married, then all of this other stuff is irrelevant.
Mhm.
Because really, how his finances are, you know, if he takes you out, he takes you on a cheap date, it doesn't really matter because you're just dating. But if you're looking to have this man be your husband, because ultimately, you know, I've been married and I want to be married again. Like, I don't think that I'm supposed to just be like single. And eventually when I do get married, the questions that I'm asking are because if this person's supposed to be head of your household, they need to be able to be financially sound because you don't want to come home and all your stuff is outside.
Right.
Or, you know, things are not what they're supposed to be. I think that you can watch a person versus asking a lot of questions and see how they're living, see, you know, what they're doing, how they spend their money. Are they gambling? Like, do they blow a lot of money on frivolous things? And that will be your indicator if this is a person you want. If someone is at a certain age, you have to look at yourself also.
Right.
So I know how old I am. I know how old I was when I bought my first property. I know how old I was when I bought my second property. If I'm at this place at this age, then I know what I'm wanting.
Exactly.
So if you're not even where you want to be, then you can't even have these expectations of financial security for someone else if you're not secure alone.
And I want to add to that when Sophia was speaking about, you know, maybe guiding someone. It is really hard. Not with all men, I'm sure, but men have this idea that they are the head. And in my experience, it is very difficult to tell a man something sometimes because they are the head and they have all the answers. And it's kind of like, you know, I had a conversation with someone the other day about submission, and he was like, you know, a woman's job is to submit. And I said, well, why would I submit to someone when you're not as good at something that I am at, that I am? You know, like that's a dumb logic. We have to be logical about things. You have skills and I have skills, and our skill set may be able to balance each other out. You know, so submission should kind of be a two-way street. But when you talk about building a man up, he has to be willing to take guidance from his woman, you know, and I think that in itself can be a hurdle for some men because it leads to how they feel about themselves, that they need a woman, you know, to guide them. Or, you know, you see how some men feel about having female bosses, you know what I mean? So, you know, it depends on the man, of
But
course.
it might be not, that woman may not be for that man.
It could be that also.
Because you could be submissive to a certain type of, you may say, well, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm submitting to this because he got
everything.
You know, he has
Yeah.
what I'm going. And even and submission doesn't mean I'm not going to listen to you. Because a true leader and man, he understands what his wife brings to the table. So he's going to listen to what you bring to the table. But at the same time, you're going to be saying it in a respectful way because you're submitting to this leadership. Because you actually trust the leadership.
Well, that's why
in a certain way, you may not trust the leadership.
So I said, we're not going to get there anyway.
Submission to me, according to, you know, the word, you know, women, submit yourself to your husband. Submission to me, by definition, is connecting yourself to that man's vision or his purpose or where he's leading the family. Connecting yourself to that and making sure he doesn't do anything that rears away from that. So when we say submission, I think it's important to start teaching our young girls that submit is not obedience. It's not bowing down. It's not, what do you want me to wear today? What do you want to eat today? Whatever you would like. It's not that. Submission is actually finding out the man's vision, where he's taking the family, and making sure that, like, well, no, honey, we're not doing that because remember, you said you wanted us to be here in 10 years. And that right there ain't taking us there. And so it's like a helpmate. You're the helpmate. So you have to like really know your partner.
I think also with knowing your partner, you have to know that you won't have the same ideals, right? Because I'm not a biblical person, so I don't necessarily use it as a binding guide for how I navigate through things. And I know that for me, a man that speaks in a bunch of biblical talk is going to be a turnoff for me, right? So even if a man says to me, if he says, well, the Bible says, I'm like, you lost me already, But for me, I like reciprocity. So when we talk about it in that term, I think about it in terms of a give and take. And that, I think naturally, I'm not going to go against a man kind of leading in some way, because I think that I tend to naturally be attracted to men who tend to be leaders in general. You know what I mean? And some women, they're not attracted to men who are leaders. You know what I mean? It depends on what you like and what you need. I know that I need strong because I come with a strong personality. And so a weak man is not going to really work for me. But I don't want to feel like I'm hitting a wall, or that my vision can't also be connected in that.
That is so important. Because you don't want to lose
I
yourself.
don't wanna lose myself.
And especially when you deal with a man, a powerful man. Because sometimes with being with a powerful man, like you get so connected with that connection and building him up and building whatever, and you're just in it for the family. You kind of lose yourself in that place. And then when that connection, all connections end one way or another, death, divorce, whatever, then you're back to trying to figure out who you are again and what is important to you.
I can find myself when I'm in a position, in a relationship, and I'm in a position where I'm building. I kind of find myself, maybe it's just because of how I was raised, but I don't know. It's just something that makes me happy, to be in that place.
I think I'm an educator, so I'm constantly building people, and I want to just come home and not have to worry about that as much. Like, I want to come home, and I do want to build. I definitely want to build, and I want to, we talk about love languages, so I definitely like to give words of affirmation, and I like to be able to stroke his ego, however that may be. But I think that within building him up, I kind of lost my point, but I want to go back. I'm just going to amen on what she said, because I definitely lost my point. But within building him up, I just don't want to lose my vision of who I am, what I want, what I saw coming into this relationship, you know what I mean? And then, my vision of 10 years from now, you know what I mean? I just don't want to lose that at all.
So how long do we wait for a man to get himself together financially?
Start counting down. That's a good one. You start counting down.
I think it depends on also where you are. Like, if I'm not ready financially, then I don't really know what I'm rushing him for. But if I am in a position where, let's say I've been getting it, I think it depends on your relationship.
It is, and it depends on the place of your relationship. So maybe like he started out financially secure, and maybe he fell off. I mean, you had owe him a responsibility. Is that when the clock starts? No. If you started out one way, and you got hurt, you got in a car accident, you lost your job, I'm not going to abandon my relationship because at this time now it's time for me to show that, hey, as much as you have my back, I have yours.
Exactly.
But if you start out homeless, it's nothing I can do. Yeah, I can't wait. You're not even. We don't have anything to talk about. And I know it sounds mean, but what I know from my love language, like for me, money and stability for me provides security. I feel secure when I'm in a relationship and those things are not in place, I'm not feeling secure, so I'm not romantic.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to get money. I'm not, no, there's no romantic bone.
Right.
And if I'm sitting here with you and we're doing nothing, we're Netflix and chill.
Right.
I'm
You
sitting
can do
there
that
like I could be
right.
making some money right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a good use of time.
Right.
You could, and then I'm starting to look at you like, what are you doing? Why do you have time to do this? So it's like, I don't believe in waiting. Now, everyone has a different love language. Maybe the next woman, she's different than me. Money isn't such a big thing for her. Security is something totally different, and she's willing to kind of ride it out or be that financial carrier.
Yeah. I think I'm not willing to switch roles. I'm not unwilling to switch roles, right? So let's say, for example, dude doesn't work and I work every day and I come home, he's there with snacks for my kids when they get out of school. The house is clean. He's cooking. He's taking care of, the things that I need to get taken care of because I'm too busy working. Then I don't really mind it as much because, again, I'm about reciprocity. Mm-hmm. But if I'm doing all of this and I gotta come home and I gotta feed your ass too, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, like it is a lot. It's just a lot to deal with. Now, back to what Miss Megan was saying about where someone starts. To me, it's about your buildup. Mm-hmm. So if you're constantly gaining momentum, then I'm down for the ride. You know what I mean? And it might be slow because some people may say, hey, I want to go to college. And he might decide that he said, hey, I've never been to college and I really wanted to be a veterinarian. And it's going to be like med school. Right. I'm going to be waiting for a long time. Right. You know what I mean?
Well, let's see what the viewers have to say.
If you have an opinion about this topic, please leave your comments on wattsproduction.com.
Welcome back. Lots of interesting comments there. So today we're talking about men with no to low income and do we date them? How do we feel about it? So our next question I'm presenting is how do we push our men without emasculating? I mean, we all know in Soul Food, where she went to her ex because her husband had a hard time getting a job, just coming out of jail. And that's a thought too. I mean, we have men that are just coming out of jail, and we give them a chance, especially with our people. A lot of them have done some sort of jail crime. That gets in the dating conversation some kind of way, whether it's back in the day or current. But how do we push them without emasculating?
I would say, you can help them with their resume, if they're trying to look for a job, be supportive while trying to help them. You can help them find jobs. Hey, they say, oh, I've been online all day looking for jobs. So, I mean, I want to say, okay, so what did you apply for? Challenge them like, okay, so what are you looking to do? What is it that you know how to do? What are you good at? Mm-hmm. Okay, and then you capitalize on that because a lot of people are just looking for little easy ways to come up with no skill. Mm-hmm. They want things, a lot of the ones that are or don't have, they look for a get rich quick scheme. Mm-hmm. They'll take on gambling, they play them numbers, they want it quick. Some of them, the ones that in the beginning, I'll say post or before marriage, they all had some type of slick, way of getting money. And when they ran out, then they would just sit there and, like in my smart days, like I said, take my money in some way. Oh, I need this, or I need money. I dated, he was my first. Okay, so he was my first. And this is the one that I was saying I tried and I stayed, and it was for 4 years. Like, he charged me gas money. He really did. And this was, like I said, my very smart days. I had no clue. Because growing up, my parents, they're still married 40 years. All I wanted was to be in a relationship. Mm-hmm. And the first guy that shot me kind eyes and was very nice to me, I thought that was good. I thought, okay, maybe I am pretty Okay, you know, but that was before I knew my worth, you know, and it's like, my biggest thing is this: a man, to me, who does not fear God, and you also have to know your worth. The man that doesn't fear God won't respect the rule of, you know, providing, taking care of his family, you know, protecting you, you know, professing his love and making you feel that love. And if you don't know it yourself, if you don't love yourself, you're gonna accept anything. You're gonna let them stray cats in and out your house like it's nothing. They don't have to be neutered. I mean, you let them in your house.
I think
Feed
there
them,
is
give them
a
some tune.
level.
You know,
to-
you taking good care of them.
So, ladies, we all know, well, you guys probably know, but Miss Megan does, that I kind of go against the grain of life.
So it's my turn. I don't have those type of provisions when it comes to whether or not a man is financially stable. I take more on the principle of if we're building something together, we'll build it together. There's nothing wrong with the other way. There's nothing wrong with our way. It's a matter of what you're comfortable with. I was married to a wonderful man who treated me beautifully, and I miss him. God rest his soul. He's no longer with us, but I will always remember. I found this man in the basement of his mother's house. He was a hard worker, yes, but his situation was a little different. And once he told me a situation, I understood it. You know, and I enjoy him, you know, getting to know him, peeling back the layers, subtracting the money from the, you know, I work, you know, his situation was child support. What about these men who are paying child support? They want a relationship, but our sisters already got them. They're already in their pockets. They already doing that. You know, you got to pay for these kids because this relationship is over. He moves on to another relationship, and here he meets the other sister. That's like, nah, brother, you ain't. So
I think that I don't think there's anything wrong with her not wanting to accept him. I personally think that.
oh, I don't think there's anything wrong with it either.
I mean,
I'm just saying that wasn't me.
yeah, I think that. So, say you have a friend that you've gotten to know throughout the years, and you fall in love with him, and he's on hard times, and you've gotten to know who that person is. You know, that might be a different scenario, but just off of just meeting someone face value, at my age, and how do you want to ask how old you are? When you got with your husband.
8 years ago, I don't know when that was. What was that?
So that would be 37. Yeah. And I'm 30.
He was 8 years older than me, so he was in his mid-40s. So
I think I'm 37 now, and I know that I could meet a really nice guy in the same situation, and depending on other things, I may or may not want to get involved. Only because my thought is this: if your child's mother is not willing to work with you at all, then I don't really know if I want to deal with the drama that she brings. You know what I mean? I'm thinking long term that way. Not necessarily that you know, it's a lot of things with the child support. I have a lot of different feelings about that situation. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's anything wrong with it. It's just about what works for you.
And I think the age plays a major role because, like, when I was married, I met my husband at 20. We were in college, so it was an expectation of me assisting with building that foundation.
Yeah.
We got our degrees together. We bought our first house together. Like we built a foundation together. At this point in my 30s, I'm not trying to meet somebody that is trying to buy their first car and their first house. I'm not I don't have another 10 or 15 years to really like build on that on some the foundation of a home. I'm not there. And I think that at whatever age, I mean, whoever you're with, you're going to be building with them. It's just what you want to build.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm in a relationship now as an entrepreneur, I want to build with my next husband an empire, more businesses. I want to expand our brands. Like, I'm not trying to be with someone that we're just trying to just do things that I did 10 or 15 years ago. So I think it's all in where you are, again, where you are in your age and where you are in life. I mean, it's not about the money, but at the end of the day, it's about what you want. Because some people, they require not very much. They don't want to do very much. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, some people are content with being in the state of Maryland all year round, 365. Like, they don't have a desire to leave the city, and they're okay with that. But maybe you want more than just that. And so, again, it's like the conversation that you have to have with the individual. I mean, you mentioned the child support. See, I feel a different way. I feel like if one of your checks are getting taken out for child support, you should be working 2 jobs or 3 jobs or whatever it has. I have 3 kids. I have 3 jobs. Like, to me, I don't really dig well in excuses. Yeah. Excuses annoy the hell out of me.
My husband was working a second job. I told him to quit. I told him to quit his second job because of his health issues.
Oh, okay.
I was not going to watch my man tear himself down because he's trying to support me. So it was like, he's tired all the time. He's eating bad. His heart wasn't right. It was like, no, you're not going to work 2 jobs. I'll work 2 jobs. I'll go out here and work because his health. For me, it's about where you are and assessing your partner. Like you said, we've been saying the same thing. Just what you will put up with, what you can tolerate. There's no right or there's no wrong.
Right.
But I just want to kind of, the whole point of having the show is to kind of put that thing out there, just put it out that we as Black women, we have to have that man with money. And that's not how we are. I think it's layers.
But I think that, and not to cut you off, but most Black women don't have a man with money. So that's a false narrative to say Black women have to have, you're not, a lot of us as Black people don't have our basic needs met. So we're all looking for the next come up, if you want to be honest. People are looking for something that they don't have because we're all looking for security. So if you're looking for security, it may be in a form of, quote, money. But if you just go scroll any social media page, you hear women all day long talking about taking care of a man, how they broke their back for a man, how they done this, that, had bad credit, did everything, to support their man. And really got very little in return. And it may just because of how we feel about ourselves. And we're willing to do whatever just to have a person. Just to say we're not single.
Right. And I think like we've got a lot to allow people to be accountable for their own positions in life.
Absolutely.
Like at almost 40, you had a lot of, so for me, I'm 37. So a man my age had a lot of opportunity to make a lot of different changes in life. I understand. I have gone to college. I have student loan debt. So, I get a person saying, well, I don't have that much student loan debt. Yeah, you don't have that much student loan debt, but you also don't have that much income. Mm-hmm. And so when I average, my assets and my income against my student loan debt to someone who potentially may not have that student loan debt, may not have income, and has no drive, I'm still winning.
Right.
And so it's kind of like if I see a man and I'm like, okay, you have no student loan debt, you have no income, well, what the fuck is the problem? Like at this point, what is the issue? What is holding you back? And I kind of feel like the original question is talking about how do we support a man without demasculinating him. And I think that it is very hard to figure out one answer to that question because each man has different needs. I had the guy that I was seeing. I tried everything. You know what I mean? Like, I even was like, look, first of all, I bought him a fake GED, right? So I went and got him a fake GED so he can go get another job. I don't know what he did with that fake GED, right? And so then he went and registered for his GED. He couldn't really do math, which was an issue which I was trying to help him with. But I was even like, listen, babe, every time you come home and you study, just do it. I tried the extremes of motivation, and it did not matter because he was not motivated himself.
He wasn't self-motivated.
So, a man that does not want to make moves is going to always feel like you're coming down on him when you're asking him to make moves. In my opinion. So there is no one way to push him if he doesn't want to be pushed. A man that wants to be pushed, it's going to be easy to push him because he's already in motion. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, at this point, you're encouraging him. You're offering him resources. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's a whole different ball game. You know what I mean?
And if you're pushing him, I mean, you guys should be leveling each other up.
Yeah.
He's pushing you,
You're
you're pushing him. You guys are all exactly. It shouldn't be, as you said, if you're at a certain place in life. I mean, you have people. I know plenty of them that don't have. I have a master's degree. Most of the people I know don't have no degree to make more money than me. You know what I mean? Like, if you have that drive, I know people that don't have a high school diploma and are making a lot of money. I met somebody who was a millionaire, and he told me he only made it to the 11th grade, and he is like legit a millionaire. Like, if you have that drive, it's not even about degrees and all of that other things. But if you don't have that drive, nobody can really help you or push you to do something that you don't want to genuinely do. A woman can assist you. Like, I do believe that women can bring to a certain degree. A certain type of woman can stagnate a man.
Yeah.
Like, he could be much further if he had the right type of woman with him. And she can almost like, babe, you were just talking about it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Like, let's go ahead and really push him. And he like, hey, yeah, let's go for it. When you have that team.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can really, like, as you said, push someone that doesn't want to be pushed.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Miss Sophia, and Miss Tammy, everybody. Being there. We appreciate you guys coming to see us. So, well, thanks again for joining us on Topics, and we will be back. The next show is going to be very special. Tune in.